Town Ninja here. This is going to be part 2 of my advanced riding technique series. If you haven't already, check out the intro to make sure these videos apply to you. Make sure you've watched the first part already, as all these videos are going to build upon each other. But today's video is going to deal with throttle control. Now, throttle control is really important. There's not a whole lot to it, but if you don't do it correctly, it could bite you in the ass. So what I mean by throttle control is it's applying the right amount of throttle through corners, for the most part, and just always generally being kind of smooth. Now, it goes without saying that you should never be jerky in your throttle, ever. So you never want to, like, chop it like that. It's not good for your motorcycle. It's not good for your tires, because you can lose traction pretty easily. And it's not very safe, especially in a corner. You never want to chop your throttle in a corner. But I kind of feel like those are no-brainers. So I'm going to be focusing more on my tips. So one thing that you'll always want to do is when you're going through a corner, and this applies mostly to riding aggressively, you always want to make sure that you're applying your throttle. Because what that'll do is that'll transfer the weight to your rear suspension, your rear wheel. Obviously the back wheel's a lot bigger than the front, so it has a bigger contact patch. So what you can do is you can give that tire a lot more load. It can handle a lot more through a corner. And what you do is when you're accelerating out of a corner, you're transferring weight to the back of that motorcycle, and it's letting the rear tire do its job. And the way to figure out how much acceleration you should go through a corner to make sure you get that weight transfer, it varies from bike to bike. But on a regular 600cc motorcycle, a good way to figure it out is shift all the way into 6th gear, going about like 40 miles an hour or so, and roll on to about 4,500 RPM, and open your throttle about 25%. That's about the acceleration you want to go throughout the corner. Like that's, ooh, what's going on with these guys? That's the acceleration you're going to want to feel. On a 636, you can do it a little bit lower. You can go like 30,500 because it's got better mid-range torque and power. But overall, just going to want to roll on and feel that acceleration. So the next tip for going around a corner with your throttle is you want to make sure that you roll on and you don't let go. I mean, if you really need to, slow down, make sure you straighten the bike, lay on your brakes. But for the most part, you want to make sure that you get your entry speed right before you have to do any of that. So when you start going through a corner, you're going to lean that amount of power, and then what you do is you keep rolling on. Now, I don't want to break the speed limit too much on this road, so I'm not going to keep going, but I mean, break the speed limit at all. So actually, I'll do this in top gear just to prove my point. So I got a corner coming up. My body position's ready. I'm looking at the corner. I see where it goes. I'm going to accelerate, and I'm going to keep accelerating and gradually roll on my throttle. We'll do it here too. So I see the corner, rolling on, and I'm keeping on the throttle, and I'm rolling it more. Shift my weight with my knees. It's too small of a corner. But it's very important that you're smooth with your throttle like that. You're going to start by rolling on. Usually it's going to be about 30%. And you're going to keep slowly pulling it in. So you go through a corner, start slowly pulling the throttle in, keep pulling it in. This corner's too big. My bike's too powerful, so I'll end up breaking the speed limit too much. But this is applying for when you're not necessarily worrying about that too much. So that's kind of how you're going to manage your throttle around a corner. You roll on, you keep on the throttle, and you keep rolling on, and then what that'll do is your exit speed will be greater. So, I mean, other than around corner with your throttle control, you're going to want to learn how to RPM match, and this is an advanced technique. It's not necessary for day-to-day riding. You don't need to do it, and it's pretty easy on a bike with a slipper clutch like this. But what RPM matching means, especially when you're slowing down, you want to make sure that you match your RPMs when you're downshifting. So you kind of blip the throttle, like, watch my hand. What that'll do is it'll make your shifts a lot smooth. So if I'm going quick here, downshift downshifting. You can see how it was real smooth. It wasn't jerky, because what you do is you use your fingers to brake. You leave constant pressure on it, and you pretty much just blip your throttle. And it takes practice, because what'll happen, especially if you're new, you'll go to blip it, and you'll be jumpy like that. And like I said, we're trying to be smooth here, so you want to get used to, want to slow down? You can see how smooth it was. And what that'll do is that'll let you keep your bike in its power range a little bit better. If you're just learning how to do that, you can let your throttle out slowly, or your clutch out slowly, sorry. Like that. It's hard for me to do it because I know how to do it correctly. But it's very important that you match that when you're downshifting. That way everything's smooth. That's what it all comes down to when you're trying to go quickly and safely on a motorcycle, is you want everything to be smooth. So to kind of recap everything, this one is a little bit shorter, still very important video. When you're going around a corner, you want to make sure that you got a good amount of acceleration, and you leave it, you keep rolling on your throttle until you exit the corner, and then either you just keep going hard on the acceleration, or you can slow down or do whatever you want. And the reason you're doing this is to transfer weight to your rear wheel, because it's got a larger contact patch and it can handle that weight a lot better. You want to make sure that when you're downshifting, you're matching your RPMs. That way it's nice and smooth. So if you have any questions, that should cover most of it. I might have forgot something. My throttle control needs a little bit of work. I'm still getting used to this motorcycle and trying to find out how to do it a little bit more legally, because I don't like speeding. I feel like to go around a corner quickly, you shouldn't really have to speed. So I'm still working on my throttle control, but those are what the tips you need to know. I'm going to make sure that you're rolling on and you're keeping on the throttle. Like, if you're going through a corner quickly and you're in a good lead and you chop off your throttle, what that's doing is that's transferring your weight to the front of the motorcycle, and that's not good for it. So you don't want to do that. But that's it. I'm kind of starting to repeat myself, so I'm going to end the video here. Thank you for watching. If you're still interested, I got one more video coming up from this series. Part 3 is going to be Friday, and it's going to be on just cornering in general. And what it's going to do is it's going to build upon all of these videos. And it's probably going to be a lot longer, because what it's going to do is it's going to summarize everything and put it all together, and I'll show you some good corners. I'll probably take this road again. This is an awesome road, especially for corners. Like this one coming up here. Let's see, I'll do a good corner for you guys before I quit. Shift my weight with my knee. So much fun. I could have taken that corner a lot quicker too with my proper body positioning and all that, but like I said, I don't speed. So that's it. Sorry. Here's the end of the video.